I have a sock over the microphone that I cut up as a muffler, so I hope that sounds better. Also, I have my Djungelskog here with me. Say hello. This is going to be a pretty chill video since it's about anxiety, so I figured I wouldn't do it too alarming since people with anxiety are watching this, so let's just jump right into it, shall we? Hello Pangopals, I hope you're doing well, I hope you've eaten your breakfast, I hope you've done your homework, I hope you've drank your water, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today to talk about anxiety. Yay! So for any of you who don't know, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder when I was 15, and there's a few things that helped me deal with it that I think might help you guys too if you have anxiety or you think you might have anxiety, since it's a pretty common thing. If you might think you have it, talk to a therapist, not me. But I think that I have a few things that might help other people deal with their anxiety since I've lived with it for a while now. So I'm here to share those things, I guess. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a drink, whatever you want, and watch me draw, I guess. Also, that's also part of the video. A quick disclaimer. These are things that help me with my anxiety. That doesn't mean it's the magic solution to everybody's anxiety. Everybody has different triggers and senses and things like that. So take whatever I'm saying with, a little bit of criticism for how it applies to your own life. Some of the things I might recommend for that help for me might not help for you. That's no reason to get mad, alright? Keep your comments chill, but I'm just gonna jump right into it. The first thing that personally helped me with my anxiety is finding my triggers. If you don't know what a trigger is, it's something that typically comes from the outside world or your thoughts, or just kind of an element that might cause your anxiety to flare, to suddenly start. Not all anxiety works like this. Triggers when it comes to anxiety might be things that are in the physical realm, like places or sounds or people, or even just thoughts in your own brain. So the moment you identify those things and what's causing your anxiety, like if you have triggers, that could help you either avoid them or get them treated, which I'm gonna expand on in a minute. So just finding what causes your anxiety. If it's an external thing, it might not be that easy, but is a great step to begin with. Like for example, for me, since I have anxiety but also I have sensory issues, some things that are related to my sensory issues, like loud sounds and places and people and stuff like that, can also trigger my anxiety since my body is not used to these things. Just finding out what your triggers are, what are the things that get your anxiety going, is a great place to start. Now, the next thing is finding a physical ground. I labeled it, but it's just about finding things that comfort you in the physical realm. Anxiety can very easily manifest in both the mind and the body. Some anxiety symptoms are purely just physical things. Some people experience like shortness of breath, like certain aches or stuff like that. A lot of people can experience like headaches or stomach issues and stuff like that. A lot of anxiety can be manifested in physical things. So noticing that is a great start. And finding out if you have some things that can ground you that are physical, also connect to that, since a lot of people like having a comfort object, or like for example fidget toys. It might help you with sensory regulation if you need it, and anything similar in that field. Some people have a water bottle or a plushie or stuff like that, and it can help you ground yourself in situations where you feel anxious. even if it's just an object or a physical thing, it can have a lot of great impacts on you. And it doesn't have to be anything with a great story or meaning. It just has to be something that calms you down. Now, moving on from the physical ground, finding your mental ground is important too. And that begins by talking to someone. I wrote down preferably a therapist, since I don't think I have had anyone in my life that helped me with my anxiety more than a therapist, since it's their job. So I would recommend talking to a therapist if you have the chance, and if you have the option to. I would prefer talking to a therapist or a person that is educated in that field, since it can help you figure out a lot of things about your anxiety that you can't figure out by yourself. Mental grounds can also be something that is not only figured out by a psychologist, but it can also just be stopping and thinking about where your thoughts are coming from and how your body is reacting to everything, and why. Trying to dissect what exactly is happening when you're getting to an anxious spiral can be very, very helpful. The thing about anxiety is that it takes you to a whole different place and confuses your brain and stuff like that. So getting out of that spiral by trying to figure out why you're thinking those things, and maybe if something happened that made you think those things or feel that way. It can always be better to reflect on those stuff. Avoiding the things that make you anxious most of the time will just make you more anxious about them, since you don't experience them and they become distant and big and cold, and you're losing your perspective. Avoiding those things is only gonna get your anxiety worse, in my experience, I guess. But on the other side, some people just need to take a break from their triggers. So I'm not just sending you to, metaphorically walk into the ocean right now, since not all people need that. Some people's anxiety is manifested in the daily life, in their job, in their relationships and stuff like that, and they might need to do the exact opposite than what I just said and take a break from their triggers. Talking to a therapist, finding out how to relax properly and how to distance yourself from the things that make you anxious safely and not in a way that's making you more anxious is also very helpful. The last thing that I figured out is getting the thoughts that are making you anxious out of your head, saying them out loud, or again talking to somebody. Or in my case, I find that writing and making art and stuff like that is always helpful in those situations. You don't need to be an artist, you don't need to consider yourself an artist, you can just make things. The point is getting those thoughts out of your head. I'll always recommend it for anyone, even if you're not an artist and even if you don't like art. Just getting those thoughts down to paper or canvas or whatever you want. You can even record yourself screaming. I don't know, there's all sorts of different art forms. You can do whatever you want. I don't care, as long as you're happy, I hope that you guys took some inspiration from this video. I don't know, or maybe stopped for a minute and thought about how your brain works. It's always interesting, so thank you so much for listening to me, I guess. I'll see you in the next video, hopefully very soon. Take care, have a great day, and I'll see you next time. So, goodbye.